how can you change who you are, live your dream, and be anything that you really want. So welcome back to a new episode, a very interesting one, I hope. I hope this is going to be interesting, but this is based on a tweet that I recently made, and I said something along those lines: what one man can do, another can do. And I really think this is true, and I've seen it for myself. I live by this, and no one is really different, no one is special. I always keep telling people when they say, oh, I want to have the life that you have, but it is impossible or almost impossible, and I tell them I'm not special. I failed high school a few times. I was a screw up. I had very, very bad grades. Everybody in my class back then probably thought that I would probably just do nothing in my life, and I turned it around. And I'm not special. What one man can do, anyone can do. What I can do, anyone can do, certainly. I'm just a regular guy who is just these days very driven, motivated, and has developed a strong work ethic. And there was a response there were a lot of responses to the tweets, but one I want to highlight in particular. And one guy said, I'm an introvert, I can't be a salesman, that takes an extrovert. And well, I said that this is just a story that you keep telling yourself. I'm an introvert. That is something that probably you have been telling yourself for years and years and years, and at one point you have accepted that. You don't like to talk in front of people, you don't like to be at attention, and that's totally normal. That's very, very common. But this doesn't have to be your future. You can pretty much change that if you're just open and want it. And let me tell you about myself. When I was all the way from high school, I think I was super, super introverted. I could never talk in front, or even when I was when the teacher called me in class in high school, when I was 13, 14, 15, I just could not talk. I would get red and I would stutter, and I was super introverted. If there was a presentation coming up, I would get sick, or I would just skip that day, regardless if I would fail the class, regardless of whether I would fail the whole year. Anything was better than talking aloud, because I always thought that I was an introvert and that I was, I didn't know much, and I just didn't want to be the center of attention. And this kept going all the way through university and even in my job. But then there was a time when I really had enough of that, and by that time I was already doing some personal development work. I started reading personal development books during university early on, even before 1 year before I started university. And I just started to work on myself because I was just not satisfied with who I was. I didn't want to become or stay that person that can't talk in front of other people, that just didn't want to feel those negative feelings, just being uncomfortable all the time. And so I kept telling myself, so there was this one moment where I had to give a presentation and I was ready to do whatever to just avoid it, regardless of how I looked, regardless of what happened, the circumstances. And so I told myself this quote. I'm not sure where I picked it up first, some books. And I live by this quote. I've posted it hundreds of times, I think, on my social media. It says, "This too shall pass." And this has really become an integral part of how I think of my belief system. Anything you do, anything that happens to you, anything how you feel, it will pass. And in a few months, in a few weeks, it won't matter. In a few years, nobody will remember anything that you've said. Even to take it to an extreme, if you give a talk, or even if you talk to some people, in a few hours, nobody will care anymore. And I kept telling myself it, and the closer the time came when I had to give my presentation, I was just kept telling myself, this too will pass, this too will pass, this too will pass, nobody will care. This is all going to be all right. It's just 5 minutes of your time or 30 minutes of my time, whatever. And so I just walked up. I was feeling super, super sick. I was ready to pass out. And then I just gave my talk. It was probably horrible. I was sweating. I was getting red. I was nervous. I probably talked nonsense. But I survived. And I noticed for myself that, okay, it is not the end of the world. It's just me talking in front of people who are there to listen to me, what I have to say. And this was the first time when I really, in 25 years of my life, when I really talked in front of people, and I survived. And then this started to become more comfortable and more comfortable and more comfortable. Still, to this day, I still feel not super comfortable being on stage, but I've talked in front of a few hundred people, events. I will be talking in front of thousands on my YouTube. I've talked to hundreds of thousands of people, and I never feel 100% comfortable because there's always this voice in my head, I'm an introvert. But this doesn't have to be, and this is just me telling myself and me trying to come up with excuses to stay in my comfort zone. It's very, very threatening, scary to go beyond your comfort zone, to do something different. And we are all conditioned we have been all conditioned all our lives to do certain things, to be a certain person. I'm an introvert. I'm not good at this. I can't do this. I can't do math. People look at me weird or whatever. And then this just becomes who we are because, well, leaving the comfort zone is obviously not comfortable, or it wouldn't be called comfort zone. But the point is that you can really do anything that you want. It won't be easy, obviously, but if you are sick of certain things, if you are sick of that you're not living up to your potential, if you are sick of being scared, then just do it. Well, Nike really nailed it, but no, that's really the truth. And I think the quote, just this idea, this too shall pass. It is such an important concept, and it not only goes for the negative, that whatever you do, whatever you're scared of, it will be over in a few moments, minutes, days, weeks, months. It will also be true for the positive things. Whatever great thing you achieve, however happy you feel right now, whatever great thing happened to you, it will be over, and in a few years it will become just a distant memory. So also appreciate it in the moment. Hold on to it, appreciate it, sit back, be in the moment a little bit, and just enjoy it. So, yeah, so this is really my little rant idea, just a few ideas to give to yourself that you don't have to stay where you are right now. And I'm the best example for that. Ask people who went to high school with me and show them what I do now, and they will be completely mind blown. Yeah. Nobody, I think, has ever heard me in high school talk a lot or even talk. I was just in the back of the room, in the corner of the room, some guy who was really bad at everything. And yeah, I just didn't accept that anymore as the story of my life. And the long story short, I think we can wrap this up here. I really, really hope that you can take away one or two things. Whatever you want to do in life, you can really do it. If it's important to you, just go out and do it. As we say in Germany, we have this nice saying, everybody is just boiling with water or cooking with water, which basically means that nobody knows any secrets. Everybody is just trying to figure it out. Nobody is more special than you. You know just as much as everybody else did when they started out. And if you really want something, you can really go out, do it, and live the life that you always wanted to for yourself. So I hope this helps for some people. If it did, let me know in the comments wherever you're listening to this, and then you will hear from me in the next episode.